Guess what? I made it. This is what I do for a living.
Hi, welcome to Room 6. I'm Joshua, and today I'm joined by Sean Pflum, drummer extraordinaire, and we're going to be learning a little bit about what makes him tick today. Welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's really wonderful that you invited me into your home. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming. First, little question for you regarding you as a drummer. Okay, you're in multiple projects.
Yep. Constantly.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about some of those projects.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about those. First is The Problems. It's the oldest group that I am associated with. They're based out of New York. I play drums for them. I do vocal backgrounds, and it's majority of the time it's Mike Borgia playing guitar and singing lead, myself, and then Matt Volpe on bass. We've done gigs in New York, we've done gigs in Kansas City, and it's kind of a regional special. So when we get together, it's always a good time. Second, there is Los Exeter. Los Exeter is based here in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. It is a hard rock trio with Carl Christensen, Tom Nieves, and myself. Carl and Tom switch off between bass and guitar. I play drums and do background vocals, and they switch off doing vocals. It's a great time.
It is a fun show. I've seen it.
It is a fun show. It's never a dull moment, as we put lightly.
Yeah.
And then I also play in the Dirty Martinis, jazz quartet.
I've heard of that band.
Hosted by Josh. I've been lucky enough to find a jazz group in Vegas that actually does jazz the right way, which, to put my moniker on it, it's not an easy thing to do.
Well, with you drumming, it's way easier. It is so nice to have a drummer who understands multiple styles, and to hear him, as soon as you sat down and started playing, the rest of us looked at each other like, okay, hopefully he stays.
The hard part's not getting me to stay. The hard part is keeping things moving in a manner that's progressive to where we're going to play out. We're going to do conventions and corporate gigs, as I call them.
Hopefully.
Because the end all be all is having a gig that pays the bills, that substantiates why do I spend so much money on gear? Why do I spend so much time in rehearsal? And the kickback is equal opportunity, and it just makes sense.
Yeah, once you've been doing music for any sort of amount of time, you realize pretty soon applause is nice,
but it doesn't pay the light bill,
and neither does merch unless you get to a certain level.
Right.
And then that's the least of your worries.
Right, merch becomes an afterthought as opposed to a forethought, like with some other groups that I play with.
Right. Well, the Dirty Martinis, we do have the demo done, and we are currently looking for a keyboard player, pianist. If anybody out there,
pianist, keyboard player, somebody who understands that jazz breaks down into not only bebop style and piano playing, but also ballads and string balance and things like that.
Yeah. And there's a time for just chords, and there's a time to really fill in.
Have a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what we want to do with the Dirty Martinis, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you. You stallion, you stalwart young man. How long have you lived in Vegas?
2.5 years.
And how long have you been doing music in Vegas? That whole time? Or was there a period?
Oh, the whole time.
Okay.
The whole time. I came from Nashville, where I spent a year playing in the country scene, playing in the rock scene. There's not much of a rock scene, but if you know somebody, you can get there. And I'm finding that no matter where you live, it's about who you know and not what you know.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's pretty true here too.
So yeah, I've been here about 2.5 years, a year in Tennessee, and then 5 years in Kansas City.
Awesome. I should apologize to Sean because I introduced him as a drummer, and he's much more than that. He also plays guitar and sings and writes songs, I believe.
Yes, I did a bit of songwriting in my younger years, but I know music theory, I know chord progressions, and I'm a songwriter, background singer, definitely not lead singer, unless we're talking about something like Don Henley from the Eagles. But
Well, there's songs where anybody can sing it really, but
right. But I know more than I should for being just a drummer. I consider myself a musician first, drummer second.
exactly. It's like I happen to play some other instruments, but I consider myself a singer who happens to own some instruments.
Right.
Real quick question before we move on was how long have you been doing music total? I know that's a hard question.
That is a hard question.
Like, when did I first pick up the instrument? When did I actually decide this is something I want to do?
I've been playing drums for half my life. That's a
Okay.
very easy equation. Actually, no. It used to be an easy equation.
So 10 years?
When it worked out that way. And I'm not 20.
Yeah, I know.
I started playing drums when I was a sophomore. No, sorry. 8th grade. No. I started playing drums in 7th grade. I've been playing drums since then, but I also started playing guitar at the same time. I started playing piano, which was my forte when I was 9 years old. And I played piano from 9 until about 17. So I guess the earliest appreciation I had for music and the earliest I started playing was about 9 years old. But I had an older sister who played flute before I had anything to do with music. And she was a really big inspiration for me to start playing anything.
And that's actually important. I have an older sister who actually owns an opera company.
I genuinely did not know that.
And it's something that I studied voice at shout out Mesa Community College, San Diego. But I studied voice, and I thought that's where I was going to go. I thought
Right.
I'm learning opera, light operas and folk songs and things, and I'm in the vocal ensemble, and really learning how to be a part, like one of the bass or the baritone singers, and also how to solo my own. But then things like pedagogy and history of the grand 21st century masters, and I started realizing I don't want to teach this as much as I want to perform.
I would take that information over World Music 101 at the University of Oregon. Shout out to UVO. Guess what? I made it. This is what I do for a living.
And I also was in world music, and I actually have played in a Javanese and a Balinese gamelan.
I've never done that.
It's
I've
amazing.
never used any of that information that I have.
It's amazing because, and actually I did finish as well, FINNISH, before, for whatever reason, I dropped the class. But the gamelan is amazing, not to get too sidetracked, because everybody literally has that one part. Like, this is you. Bing, bing, bing.
Boom.
Yeah, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bing. 2, 3, or not even 8. It's not even a 4 count.
No, it's 7. It's 16. It's some kind of odd meter.
But you want to talk about like opening your mind to when you've just grown up on music and MTV and VH1 back when they had videos, music, and suddenly I'm hearing all these weird octaves and things, or not even octaves, but weird.
Did you get into the Takadimi system?
No,
No.
not like this is what it's called. I just
So Takadimi is the Indian talking syllable they use for things like that.
Sorry.
I never understood because Music Theory 1 was taught in that, and I went.
Right.
1 E into 2 E into 3 E into 4 E into, and they're like tak 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 tak, and I'm going, I don't know what you're saying.
What I remember
That was the most frustrating part about the University of Oregon.
Yeah, what I remember from
Shade. I hope it's dark over there.
Well, what I remember from my music theory class at Mesa Community College, it was a shout out to Rich. You were an awesome teacher. But music theory, I remember They played Metallica to show us how in one song a time signature can change. I just remember going, "This is kind of cool."
That's okay.
'Cause
I'll take that. It's weird because I would choose Dream Theater.
Well,
because Dream Theater is so much more.
I'm older than you. I know Dream Theater's been around a while, but this was when Metallica, the Black Album had dropped, and it was very
Okay.
So it was very. We're hitting the kids where they know,
right? But Dream Theater is very very reminiscent of that odd time signature, mixed time signature thing.
Right. They're a lot more cerebral than Metallica. I'm a big Metallica fan, but Dream Theater kicks ass.
Metallica. So
yes.
Now we're off point.
Anyway, but no, that actually leads to kind of talking about influences, musical influences. And as someone who's not just a singer-songwriter such as myself, but a drummer, which I could only dream of being, what are some of your early influences? I mean, there's the usual like Buddy Rich, but...
Oh, no, I hate Buddy Rich.
Whoa. Shots fired.
I am so going to get flack for this. I don't like Buddy Rich. I prefer guys like Carl Palmer, who coincidentally, and I know this is the ironic part, and I know a lot of you are screaming in the comments right now, Carl Palmer dated Buddy Rich's daughter.
Of course.
because of course he did. I prefer progressive rock heroes, but Max Roach, Gene Krupa, those are my jazz go-tos. Elvin Jones, Philly Joe Jones. If we're talking about jazz, that's really where my forte lies. So definitely in the more jazz realm. I didn't like Buddy Rich because he played like a non-dynamic egomaniac.
I
Everything he did was loud, fast, and that was it.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
You would definitely categorize yourself as a jazz drummer.
Yes,
and everything else
primarily.
I also play metal or whatever.
I also play metal. I also play rock. I think that once you get the finesse for jazz and once you get the feel for it and everything starts to make sense, it's easy to fall into other things like the rock subgenres and the metal subgenres and things like that, and the Afro-Cuban, the Brazilian. Shout out to Ron Stafarte, who gave me the biggest wake-up call I ever had and said that I was terrible at Brazilian and Afro-Cuban. I now know what you mean by saying that I played too many quarter note triplets. And I'm so sorry that I did that, but I needed more experience playing with other peoples to get me there. Go-Go Ray from Kansas City, thank you very much for saying that I actually needed to get out and play with people instead of playing the tracks. I now know what you mean. I have accumulated a lot of knowledge by playing with other people and actually having the interactions with them, as opposed to playing to tracks. Playing to tracks only gets you so far. Playing to tracks gets you really good at playing to tracks.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't get you familiarized with playing with other people.
So thank you.
So as far as early influences, Carl Palmer, Max Roach, I would even say a little bit of Ginger Baker. I'm trying to think of who played with Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix when he had a trio. Someone will write it down in the comments.
I've seen that clip. I know the drummer you're talking about, but I can't. I never. Got
I'm thinking of Manic Depression. You guys know who it is. I'm blanking on it.
But yeah, no, watching him drum, you're just like, how is he in time? Because it looks like he's all over the place.
I'm just really mad that I can't remember the name.
I don't know, but
I am blanking out. Yeah.
What prompted you to like pick up a guitar and try to write songs?
My dad was honestly a really big Beatles fan.
Wasn't everybody?
So yeah, I guess that's it. It's just for me, I changed over from piano to guitar, and it was Eric Clapton, George Harrison, and John Lennon I guess, were my biggest influences. Just the songwriting capabilities, just the expression that could be achieved through a guitar is something you could feel. I never had a piano against my chest,
Yeah, there's a certain
rumbling
disconnect.
or moving
Yeah.
or vibrating. There was always a disconnect.
And it's funny. I know a lot of guitar players that did the same thing. When I was 7, piano lessons, and then one day, Dad brought home an electric guitar with an amp built in the case. Yeah, he traded in his old trumpet.
That's a thing. I'm so mad that I didn't know that.
It was crap. It sounded like crap.
I don't care.
It sounded like-
you can take that down to Fremont Street here in Vegas,
Yeah.
and use it.
Yeah, but I know.
That
was the thing.
You
It was
outgrow
just-
it.
I still remember that first string. And you're like, you're gonna let me do this? You're gonna let me do this in the house? and then I never looked back, and I kicked myself to this day that I didn't keep up with piano because I know 2 songs and that's it, and one of them I wrote.
For me, piano is just a linear knowledge of what guitar is.
Yeah.
So if I can hear a chord progression, I can figure out what's going on a piano and go, okay, it's math. It's 6-2-5-1 or 6-2-4-1, or if you want to get fancy, 6-2 flat 1, like a minor third, and then 5 that's augmented. It all becomes just this mathematical process. And it's fine. Like, piano's fine, guitar's fine, drums are fine. The thing is, the knowledge that's gained from playing all these things really benefits you in more of a way than playing one of them. The sum is greater. What is it? The sum is greater than
the whole or the parts.
The parts.
The whole is greater than the parts.
The whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
There you go. We're mathing.
I am terrible at that. And I play odd meter a lot.
And by the way, guys, if you have any questions for Sean, please feel free to throw them down in the comments, and he will address them. And if you have any questions for me, same thing. Let's talk about your current influences.
I have a question. Why are you wearing the hat?
Why not?
Oh, okay.
I'm not bald.
Perfect question. Perfect answer. Why not?
Because
I'm tired and it's neater and it's easier.
Because I wore it all day.
Oh,
There you go.
yes. So I'm tired and I'm...
Because it makes me look tough. No, just kidding. But let's talk about your current influences. When you are practicing, are you trying to, what are you currently focusing on for your, your drumming or your guitar playing?
My current guitar playing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to focus on other educators. I'm trying to model myself after other educators.
Okay.
I'm not playing to write. If I play to write, I usually throw on I usually throw on a Lamb of God album. And I think about how can I make that sound honestly easier because I can't keep up with you guys. But it's analyzing chord progressions for me mainly. For drumming, it's George Lawrence Stone, Sick Control. I try and keep up with keeping my hands moving, keeping my feet moving. I have a very bad circulation problem and tendonitis and carpal tunnel and things like that. So a lot of my teaching becomes not redundant, but habitual. I try and focus on hand technique and foot technique so I don't have my students learning the same things that I learned incorrectly. And
that's actually the goal of a good educator, is don't make my mistakes, or let me see if I can help keep you from making mistakes.
That's what I draw from that is the same goal as a parent. Let me help you learn from my mistakes.
I've said it at least once a week to my daughter. She's 11 going on 18 now, and at least once a week I'm explaining something to her, like, please listen to me when I talk. Mommy and I have made many mistakes growing up. You will make many mistakes. We're just trying to keep you from doing ours, and it's hard. But thank you very much for
course.
answering that.
Of course.
What are your current musical goals aside from making money, making music? Is there any new instruments you want to pick up or styles that you want to pursue? Or
I have always wanted to learn the theremin.
me too.
I think that's just I think it's because I don't understand it. There's that mystery, and I think that's what's so appealing about it.
It's on one hand, it seems like it's easy to learn. On the other hand,
it seems like it could go very wrong.
I bet it's going to be
fast.
I bet it's going to be like learning the violin or something where it's horrible until you get.
See,
decent.
I also violin, viola. I would love to learn these things.
Yeah, considering that we both play guitar, a stringed instrument, I cannot play cello or anything like that to save my life. It sounds like a dead water buffalo.
But if you haven't noticed my hand motions, everything I talk about is right here, and I'm going. Like, I should learn something that at least involves my hand motions.
Well, moving on to shows, just in general. What is your favorite show memory? Do you have a favorite show memory?
Playing Carnegie Hall.
Okay,
I think that's it.
let me get you a mic so you can drop it.
My favorite memory was playing Carnegie Hall. I've never walked into a venue. Everything was so pristine, and we had our band director walk out and literally dropped a pin.
Bing. Perfect acoustics.
You didn't hear it come back.
Wow.
It was so voided, so perfect that you didn't hear anything. And then we started playing, and we had a rehearsal. Thank God, we had a rehearsal because we played, and we could hear the sound bounce back at us, but it was a second. Like a full second.
That's gotta be
just
weird.
Coming back, and we're going, nope, just play through. Just block it out. We have to learn this in 10 or 15 minutes and just not acknowledge the fact that something is going wrong.
Right. So, how do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Practice, practice, practice.
And when you get to Carnegie Hall, practice, 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 because it's practice, 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 practice. So that's weird. I never heard that, actually. I've seen interviews and things from people who played it. They never ever complained about that.
Oh, it's not a complaint.
Well, that's not a complaint. Sorry,
it's not a complaint. It is a fact that things reverberate. I have heard from my brother, who is younger than me. He has played the Disney Concert Hall in LA.
Okay.
I have heard that place is perfect acoustically, designed to be perfect acoustically.
Well, they got the money.
They obviously are not short on that, but I would really love to play that.
What were you doing at Carnegie Hall? You were playing a drum set, or?
I was playing timpani.
And we talked about
I was
that.
playing timpani in my school symphonic band. I was 17 at the time, and I noticed that when I hit the timpano, the individual timpani, the timpano, it reverberated, and I went, "Oh no. This is bad," because I'm hitting the biggest drum that's on the stage. I'm hitting a 29-inch drum, and it's going, doo, whoo, and it's a flood of sound when it does hit you.
You almost want earplugs or something.
I almost want to ignore the conductor. Not that I want to ignore the sound. I just want to ignore the person who's conducting me and just follow with eyes, just with plugs in and go, okay.
Jeez.
Yeah, I see you, and just ignore everything that's going on in your ears.
Okay. Well, so I guess I know what your favorite venue is then.
Yep.
Okay. And how about, do you have a dream show? I guess it would be the Disney Theater?
I did have a dream show. My dream show, and I don't currently. My dream show was going to be Greg Lake and Keith Emerson, ELP, and then use me as the P.
Oh,
Because my last name is Pflum, Pflum. Keith Emerson and Greg Lake passed away recently, far too recently. And I think that was it. I didn't have anything else planned. I would love to do. I want to see your face for this. I wanted to do a Nickelback show and play drums for them because I love Nickelback.
I can't complain.
They make a lot of money doing what they do, and they have a great time doing it from what I've seen. I always say that.
Did you ever hear about the 45-cent tour?
The what?
The 45-cent tour?
No, I did not hear about the
45-cent tour is when you have Nickelback and 50 Cent opens.
Of course. Why did I suspect that it was anything other than a dad joke?
I'm surprised I didn't get a... I'll have to put that
No,
in.
you don't get one of those.
I gotta get a clink.
Now we can clink. This guy tried to clink when the glass was about this full.
Hey, Vault.
And it just went thud.
Anyway, let's talk gear. Yeah. Like most drummers, you're a bit of a gear whore. Yes. What is your current gear that you are using for, like, what's your go-to?
I love gear questions.
Yes, I know. And I mean sticks and everything. Whatever you want to talk about.
So I do have a formal endorsement, an educational endorsement with Aquarium drum heads. They are legitimately the best drum heads I've ever played. This isn't sponsored. This isn't endorsed by them or anything like that.
But if they do want to sponsor, that'd be great.
They're just the best product that I've found on the market. And I've played Remo, I've played Evans, and I've had big issues with them. I played Tama drums. My main kit is a Tama Bubinga Birch, which apparently we're discontinuing now. And then I have a Swing Star drum set, Philippine Mahogany. That is also not being produced anymore. And now I have an Imperial Star Bop kit, which is also not going to be produced anymore.
Here.
Yeah, I feel like Tama changes their outfits too frequently. You should stop that so I can buy more stuff.
Thank you.
That was really hard for me.
I bet.
I use a lot of the SLP snare drums, the Tama SLP snare drums. I have the G Bubinga. I have these black brass. I have the 8x14 steel. I have a couple Mabel drums that are all done by Tama.
Did I mention he's a gear whore?
Yeah. The Sabian, I play all Sabian cymbals. I am so proud to say that now. The HHXs are wonderfully in condition. As much as I play them and beat the heck out of them. I'm really trying here.
I understand that.
We have a dad, and I do not censor myself well.
And my daughter is literally 10 feet that way. So I appreciate it. But to be honest, she's got earbuds in, and she's 11, so, you know.
Well, in that case.
Yeah, but let's not turn this into a Let Me Kill Meister interview.
Simpad. I play a lot of Simpad products. I've never reached out for an endorsement. I would love to do that. I would love to work with Simpad. I use a lot of their equalizer pads, and it's basically a dense foam that allows the cymbal to sit and resonate fully instead of sitting on felt. And a lot of those frequencies dive into the felt, and I've heard the difference, and it is real.
Now I've heard, they just slap some pads on there, and you can hear there's some sound coming back, but you're saying it doesn't, basically.
I'm saying it doesn't absorb the sound. Now the cymbal can sound like the cymbal,
just not as loud.
Right? No, not even not as loud, just louder.
Wait.
Because now you're getting the high frequencies come through.
Oh, I guess when you said SimPad, I thought you meant practice pads.
No.
That's what I thought you were talking about. That's why I was confused.
No, we're talking about, that is the ProLogix pad. I have one of those. I would like to switch over to 3 of those. ProLogix.
Hint, hint.
ProLogix.
Yes. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3.
Yep. I really do like the ProLogix pads. They're the blue pad that I have.
I haven't seen it. Sorry.
It's on me. It's because I have...
I'm surprised you didn't bring a drum set.
It's because I have a Vic Firth pad I'm trying to get rid of. literally trying to get rid of. I hate Vic Firth pads. I hate Vic Firth. You guys are trash.
Whoa.
And I will not be detained.
Didn't realize that I was opening up a
Oh.
war zone with all these shots being fired.
Oh, it's fine.
It's all good, man.
I hate them.
Yeah. This show is all about giving you a stage.
That's what we're talking about with gear.
Yeah.
Mostly Sabian cymbals, Tama drums, Tama hardware, Aquarian drum heads, and Vader drumsticks. Vader drumsticks are fantastic. I still have an issue with the fact that I don't have a Vader endorsement, but that's me.
Oh, geez.
Vader, you should look at Vic Firth and see what I did to them.
Wow.
And really take notice.
Go back 10 seconds. All right.
I love Vader drumsticks. I've used them for the better part of 7 or 8 years now, and we've never met the right people.
Right on. Will it be all right if I put a list of this gear you play in the comments?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
In the comments or in a little thing that
Right.
pops up on the video.
And also, we'll have links to the various manufacturers and also where you can hear Sean play drums. No, don't worry, I won't do that one video.
No, it's fine. I'll throw all that information to you.
Beautiful. Because anybody who does know you or know the local Las Vegas music scene and the bands that you're in, it's always nice to say, "Oh, he can also do this. He was doing that," or you know.
Right. I've done tech work for people. I've repaired drums.
He's put on workshops.
I've done workshops. I've done clinics, as we call them, but I've also done maintenance on drums.
Hint, hint. Anybody needs any work done in Vegas? Do you have any dream gear that you just wish you could afford? Yes, I know, the drool.
A Tama bell brass snare drum. That is a $3,000 snare drum. Snare drum, just one drum. Tama bell brass or Sabian vault. I would love to have a really great set of jazz cymbals, stuff I can take out and just play out every week. I really can't get beyond that because it's snare drums and
Right.
it's kits and it's cymbals. A Thomas snare, or no, Thomas snare would be nice, but the Star series. These are the ones that are only made in Japan now. This is the last series that's made in Japan.
Gotcha. Let's see. When I first started,
Thomas Star Maple,
sorry,
3-piece, 20 by 16-inch bass drum, 10 by 6 rack tom,
I can see them floating above his head.
14 by 12 rack tom. Like this is a $5,000 or $6,000 kit for a 3-piece. Yeah, dream gear. Dream gear.
Well,
yeah.
that's why I asked, because it's good to have something to shoot for, of course, but also,
I'll never be able to.
well, when I first started in music, a snare was a snare to me. It all sounded, snare was a snare. I didn't know any better. And just like, for you whiskey drinkers out there, as you get more into it, you start to discover there's all these notes and everything and different differences and types of things. And as I've been in various bands and heard various drummers and various snares
Right.
from the same drummer, even
Now
I'm like, oh, it's that night, is it?
Yeah.
Or playing to the rafters with this one. Have you ever lost gear? We all have that story. I'm going to cue sad music here.
I did. I gave away a Strat that had
The giveaway.
a DiMarzio bridge. Oh no, actually I should go straight to the SG. I had an Epiphone SG that had bare knuckle pickups in it, bridge in the neck. and both were coil tapped through the tone pot. I gave that away so that I could move here.
Didn't even sell it, huh?
I sold it to pay for the moving truck. Because the guy who I bought the moving truck with, who was the guy who I was living with to begin this whole story, was a piece of trash. Yeah, I did lose gear.
All right. Moving on from that sadness.
That's
Any
depressing.
maintenance tips for the drummers out there?
Yes, use WD-40 for your tension rods. Maybe Loctite. A lot of people suggest Loctite. I would say WD-40. As far as your heads and bearing edges and things like that, make sure that your bearing edges are straight. Take them to a local drum shop dealer and make sure that everything is flat. If you put your drum down on a granite countertop and push a flat flashlight down, you'll be able to see through the flashlight head that there are holes or that there are divots in the bearing edges.
All right.
So those are my tips. Make sure that everything's taken care of. Make sure everything's flat. And then once everything's flat, WD-40 the tension rods or Loctite the tension rods if you're that kind of person. I would prefer WD-40 because you want to change the tuning. If you want to change the tuning, things would be more level.
Cool. I didn't know about the WD-40. That's helpful. Well, I want to thank, again, Sean Pflum for coming by and telling us a little bit about his history and learning more about him. I believe you have a song for us, right, on the guitar?
Always.
Always. Okay. Well, thank you for watching. Stick around because we're going to be moving to room 6. And, ladies and gentlemen,
I really love room 6.
room 6 presents Sean Pflum.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the real what you said to me, condescendingly. Take your seat, take your life, blot it out in black and white. Dreams of the crime king and the drama queens, I'd like to be listen to me. Still I sleeps tell you, see inside the night. Something better the other side. I wanna run through the halls of the high school. I wanna scream with the top of my lungs. I just found out this is to sing in the real world. It's a night with two eyes in the world. So the good boys and girls take a so-called rock track, faded white hats, grabbing credits and English transfers. Read all their books, but they can't find the answers. How about parents? They're getting older. Should they wish for anything better while living memories, tiny tragedies? To tell you, stay inside the line. There's something better on the other side.
I want to thank Sean Pflum for coming by Room 6. It was a great interview and a great performance. If you want to know more about Sean, the bands he plays in, or the gear he plays on, go ahead and look down below. You can also subscribe over there if you haven't already, and you can go ahead and check out this other video to see more about what's going on in Room 6. I want to thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time on Room 6.